Hi, I'm Jamie and I'm the videographer for this speech.
Imagine you are sitting in a courtroom. The defendant you are watching is charged with the taking of someone's life. Not all homicides are treated the same under the law. There are three main types of homicides, such as justifiable, excusable, or the most commonly known one, criminal. How does the law distinguish between these three types? And why is it important, and why should it matter to you? Today I'll be telling you about the three different types of homicides. My dad is a police officer, and yet I never really understood that homicide doesn't just necessarily mean murder. Firstly, let's discuss what homicide is. Homicide refers to the intentional or unintentional killing of a person, as said by the criminal law school. Understanding the differences of these homicides is important, not just for us, but for law enforcement and legal professionals. Understanding also helps in addressing crime prevention, justice systems, awareness of consequences, and sentencing. As a review, the three main types of homicide is justifiable, excusable, and criminal. Now that you know what that is, let's move on to more easier types, non-criminal types. And let's start with justifiable. Justifiable is taking of a life under circumstances of justification, as said like self-defense or the police force, as said by criminal law. In both cases, the response to the threat must be met with equal force to avoid losing a life. Eyewitness testimony or physical evidence to demonstrate the intensity of the threat is also needed for both, although the police force is more likely to use this. Some examples for this is if an intruder comes into your home, and although they may not be armed, you are still allowed to protect yourself and defend yourself. The consequences of justifiable homicide is not deemed legally acceptable, but there are no criminal charges. You might still face civil lawsuits for wrongful death, but it won't be counted as criminal. Next, let's move on to excusable homicide. An accident or misfortune, or in doing any other lawful act by lawful means, with usual and ordinary caution, and without any unlawful intent, as said by Workman Jackson. Some examples might be a hunting accident. If you're out in the woods and you're hunting and you see something that you might think is an animal, and unintentionally or accidentally shoot them because they're not wearing proper clothing for hunting season, may result in a death. That is counted as excusable. The charges are brought civilly but not criminal, by Heather Lee. The consequences of excusable homicide. You may have lesser charges. Your possible penalties can be imprisonment, probation, or fines, depending on the severity of negligence, but it won't be counted criminal. Last, I'm going to explain the more common homicide, or commonly known, such as criminal homicide, which most people mean as murder. It means willful killing of one human by another, as said by Justia. It also includes first-degree murder, second-degree murder, third-degree murder, voluntary manslaughter, or involuntary manslaughter, as said by Justia. Some defense arguments against criminal homicide may include mistaken identity, an alibi, overcharge, temporary insanity. The consequences of criminal homicide are serious criminal charges: jail time, prison time, life in prison, or the death penalty. If you're charged with manslaughter, you may serve shorter time periods of prison times. A look back and a review on the three types. Justifiable lacks intent and is more legally excused. Excusable also lacks intent and is more excused and serves a less severe punishment. Criminal homicide is filled with malicious intent and can face criminal charges, or will face criminal charges. This is a map on the homicide rate per 100K from the year 2024. The blue, the darker blue, means less. As it moves on to the lighter blue, which means more. And then you get to the white or tan, and that keeps going upward, it keeps escalating. And as you get to the dark red, such as in Mississippi, that's where most of the homicides were in the United States in the year 2024. Now let us conclude. I hope that today I was able to help you understand the different types of homicide. Homicide is a scary term, but it means more aspects than just murder. Be aware of this terminology. If you would like to get into criminal law, it is important to know these things. Thank you.